Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation with a focus on a powerful principle: cultivate an air of unpredictability. We'll explore how keeping others in suspended terror, as outlined in Law 17, can be a strategic tool. Over the next few slides, we'll delve into the key concepts, practical tips, and real-world examples to understand how this approach can influence and command respect. So, let's get started and uncover the art of maintaining an element of surprise and control. Humans are creatures of habit. We tend to look for patterns and familiarity in others' actions because it gives us a sense of control. When someone is predictable, it makes us feel more comfortable because we can anticipate what's coming next. But here's the interesting part. If you want to really influence or even throw people off balance, you should turn the tables. Be deliberately unpredictable. When your behavior has no clear pattern or purpose, it keeps others on their toes. They can't easily figure out your next move, which can be quite disorienting for them. This unpredictability forces them to spend a lot of mental energy trying to understand you, and ultimately, they'll wear themselves out trying to explain your actions. It's a powerful way to maintain an advantage, especially when you want to keep others guessing and maintain control in your interactions. Let's talk about the psychology of patterns. When we disrupt an opponent's patterns, we essentially cut off their ability to strategize effectively. They rely on predictability to plan their moves, so if we break that, they can't anticipate what's coming next. This puts them in a state of suspended terror, forcing them onto the defensive because they're unable to foresee our actions. Now, moving to the power of terror. People are naturally drawn to patterns because they give us a sense of predictability and safety. When we see familiar patterns, we feel in control. But when someone acts unpredictably, it triggers a primal fear, a deep-rooted instinct that something is off, something dangerous. That fear can be a powerful tool in shifting the balance of control. Finally, the human need. We crave stability and certainty because it helps us navigate the world with confidence. When that stability is disrupted, it creates anxiety and fear. Understanding this need helps us see why disrupting patterns can be so effective. It taps into that fundamental human desire for safety and predictability, which we can leverage to influence behavior and outcomes. So, during the match, Fisher arrived late and immediately started causing disruptions. He complained about the lighting, forfeited games, and even made some bizarre demands that seemed almost irrational. This kind of behavior was completely uncharacteristic and threw Spassky off his game. As a disciplined Soviet player, Spassky was used to focus and control, but Fisher's antics made it impossible for him to concentrate on chess. Instead, he was busy trying to predict Fisher's unpredictable behavior. Ultimately, Fisher's tactics worked, and he won the match quite easily. This episode highlights how Fisher's erratic behavior was not just a distraction, but a strategic move that played into the overall psychological battle of the 1972 World Chess Championship. Just as Rosenberg would get used to one style of Picasso's work, Picasso would suddenly switch to another, keeping everyone on their toes. He was charming one day and aloof the next, which made his work even more intriguing and valuable. This unpredictability kept art dealers desperate to secure his next phase or new direction. The art dealer Paul Rosenberg had a contract with Picasso, expecting some consistency, but Picasso refused to be predictable. He intentionally kept his style fluid and surprising, which only heightened his reputation and demand in the art world. This unpredictability was a key part of his artistic genius and his ability to stay ahead of trends. It's a great example of how being unpredictable can actually work to your advantage, especially in a creative field like art. Let's talk about transgression and the idea of the open book. Consistency is often seen as a virtue, right? But in the context of power dynamics, being predictable can actually be a liability. Think about animals. They're hunted because they learn their habits and routines. If you always react the same way, you're essentially giving others a blueprint to manipulate you. You don't want to be the animal in this scenario. Enemies or opponents will learn which buttons to push to get the reaction they desire. So the key takeaway here is that habitual reactions make us vulnerable. The danger of habit is that it turns us into an open book, making it easier for others to control or influence us. Being aware of this helps us stay unpredictable and maintain our power. Now, let's talk about the keys to power. One of the most effective strategies is to be kind when others expect cruelty. It confuses them and throws off their expectations. Conversely, be harsh when they anticipate mercy. Keeping them guessing is all about unpredictability. Next, we have the idea of sudden shifts. Sometimes, doing something completely random with no apparent reason can be incredibly disarming. The more meaningless the action seems, the more your enemies will overanalyze it, trying to find a pattern that isn't there. Then there's the concept of unreadable motives. Change your methods daily, never attacking from the same angle twice. This makes your routine impossible to predict or map out, keeping everyone on their toes. Finally, scrambling your patterns is crucial. Mix things up so your behavior remains unpredictable. When your actions are inconsistent, it becomes much harder for others to anticipate your next move. All these points tie back to the overall theme of maintaining power through unpredictability and strategic ambiguity. The more unpredictable you are, the more control you hold over the situation. Now, here's where the reversal truly comes into play. When your adversaries or competitors stop watching you so closely, it's often because they believe they understand your pattern, your typical behavior. And that's exactly the moment to surprise them with something entirely unexpected. Sometimes, predictability can actually be a useful tool. By establishing a pattern or routine, you create a sense of familiarity. This can lull others into a false sense of security, making them less alert to your true intentions. Think of it as the smoke screen of habit. It's about using your habitual behaviors as a shield, hiding your real strategy behind what seems predictable. This way, you can manipulate their expectations and create a window for a decisive move. Remember, mastering this balance between predictability and surprise can be a powerful weapon in any strategic situation.